My name is Barber. I absolutely had no intention of getting into human resources. I remember sitting in the refectory, which is now called Cafe 45, and everyone putting their hand up who was going to university, and I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do in life. I ended up going to university because friends were. Ended up doing a Bachelor of Business in Human Resource Management because that seemed like a pretty generic kind of degree to do. It wasn't really until I started doing work experience in the holidays and started to actually understand what I wanted to do with my life, and I guess from a career perspective. And I think that's why work experience is really important as part of your career journey. Yeah, look, it's a fantastic career path. I mean, I guess with human resources, there's a real variety of different things. I think a lot of people don't really understand what human resources is. So it's if you're an HR generalist, you might be involved in recruiting, you might be involved in performance management, you might be involved in employee relations or industrial relations, learning and development, remuneration. So all those different aspects of things make up the broader field of human resources. Or you might specialise in one particular thing. You might become an expert in learning development. You might become an expert in remuneration or mobility, or you might be a recruiter. So it really is a broad career path to take. I initially started off specialising in industrial relations, so I found that really a really attractive career path at the time. I didn't really know what it was when I went to university, and I learned bits of it. But like I said, work experience really gave me some more depth and knowledge on it. I found it very challenging because basically industrial relations, employee relations is dealing with conflict, dealing with disputes, negotiating enterprise agreements, negotiating and dealing with disputes if they go to the Industrial Relations Commission or Federal Court. So even though I didn't do a law degree, you do get quite involved in the legalities of labour law. So look, a day in the life, look, it often varies. There are some things that you'll plan to do. So you might just say, I've got meetings today in relation to performance appraisals or remuneration for remuneration review, or it might be that you are doing some recruitment activities in relation to an upcoming intake, say for apprentices. Or it might be that we're looking at training programs and schedules. But I guess the thing with human resources is it's unpredictable. There are things that will happen every day that you might not realise you have to deal with. So there might be a dispute between employees. There might be an issue on site that you need to go to. I recall in the past I've gone home midday in Melbourne and flown to the Pilbara to deal with some issues on site. So it really is uncertain as far as what you do on a day-to-day basis. There are some things which are set, but it's that unpredictable nature of dealing with people. Yeah, look, I think a lot of people, I guess with human resources, where you actually are based is really somewhat dependent upon the company that you work for and the role that you actually have. So there are some people who will spend their entire human resources life working in a corporate office. And there are others who are more site-based. So they're actually getting involved in the day-to-day activities of site life. I've spent a lot of my time working in the corporate side of things, so I guess focusing more on policies and protocols and procedures and I guess giving instructions to the broader HR community about what needs to be done. I've also had roles on site too, so and they're quite exciting. So I remember during the construction of the Clem 7 tunnel, walking through the tunnel, talking to all the guys, dealing with all the issues that are happening from a people perspective in that construction project. So it really is quite dynamic from a career perspective. Soft skills, very important. In the end of the day, you're dealing with people. If you are not good at communicating, both written and verbally, you might find human resources a little bit difficult. So that's really important. Empathy is also really important. We'll often deal with the employees who are actually themselves dealing with really difficult situations. They might have some psychological, mental health issues. They might have issues at home. A lot of those things manifest and they bring themselves to work. So that empathy and understanding about what's going on in people's lives is really important. I guess also how to collaborate, so actually work with different people within the business to achieve mutual outcomes. And probably the other one is I guess conflict resolution. You'll have a lot of managers or people who have day-to-day conflicts and issues. So how do you, I guess, get the parties together and address those issues in a way which I guess everyone gets a win-win and you move forward. These skills are, I think there's some things which you have naturally. So I think but I guess it's also a matter of understanding what you need, and I think you can develop them as well. I know when I was younger and in industrial relations as a grad, I found a lot of the sort of dealing with conflict and dealing with people quite difficult, and I had to teach myself, I guess, how to address those issues. Even if I wasn't feeling confident, no one else could know that. I needed to be able to own the situation and look like I was in control. So that was certainly a skill I've learned as well. Presentation skills, obviously very important. Presenting to a room, presenting to management, presenting to the workforce, or even talking at a conference. Certainly presenting is very, very important as well. Yeah, rewarding, seeing individuals grow and develop in their careers and in themselves, knowing that you've played a role in that occurring. So I guess it's one of those career paths where you can actually really make a difference, and which I think is fantastic. So to see an apprentice who comes on as a first year who knows nothing, and then graduates after 4 years and becomes a tradesperson, and the smile on their face and looking at them as what they've actually achieved and they've learnt. So there's certainly a lot of different aspects to it that are rewarding. Challenging. Look, there are some parts of HR which involve a lot of admin work. That's just the nature of the role. But also the other challenging parts are things like redundancies. There are times where the business is in a downturn, might be technological change, and you actually have to go through, I guess, a selection process and select individuals to be made redundant and then actually deliver that message to them. And for some of those employees, that's heartbreaking stuff. So I guess how you deal with that is very, very important. But that's a bit of a downside. No one likes to see people leave the business, and certainly when you're the one delivering the message. But also, I guess, dealing with conflict from time to time, especially silly conflict. We're dealing with human beings. Sometimes they have silly arguments about silly things. But at the same time, I guess HR is sort of brought in to mediate and resolve those issues. Yeah, look, 2020, COVID-19 has, I guess, impacted a lot of things. Firstly, it's impacted business. So where we had, a fairly clear understanding of what the future looked like as far as available work for the future, a lot of that has been impacted by COVID-19. So, and as a result of that, we saw some redundancies as well. There's also been somewhat a change in how we perform work. A lot of processes and things you might do face-to-face or manually through forms, that's all become more electronic. A lot of meetings are being held through Teams and Zoom and those sort of platforms moving forward as well. That creates some challenges as well because how do you actually effectively communicate and collaborate when people aren't physically there working together? So there are a few things to overcome. But look, I certainly think the other one with COVID-19 is putting in place safe work practices. And that's been quite challenging as well. Understanding what needs to be put in place, liaising with your clients about what things are in place at their premises, and ensuring the well-being of your employees. What kind of difference? That's a fantastic question. What kind of difference can you expect to make in the world? Well, I guess you're dealing with people's lives. So how they grow, the fact they come to work every day, providing a safe workplace, because obviously everyone comes to work to go home at the end of the day. Probably the most important thing is see how they grow. And a lot of people look to work and look to HR to provide those opportunities. So it might be, where's my career path going to go? What training am I going to do? I want to get from here to here. What do I have to do to get there? First one is it's your life, your journey. So whilst people will be really good in giving you advice about things, end of the day, it's your life. So take everybody's advice on hand, but you need to make the decisions for your future because no one can live your life but you. Second one, embrace mistakes. Mistakes are fantastic. You will learn your best. Your best learnings will come from your mistakes. So you'll learn a lot of things at university and I guess in performing your role, but those mistakes, they're brilliant. And adding on to that, accountability. Always be accountable and responsible for your actions. I remember as a young sort of HR professional, something big issue occurred. At the time, I had a former US Brigadier General as a boss, And I made excuses for why this event had occurred, and he just stood there looking at me. And from that point forward, I've really learnt that point about accountability and responsibility and how important that is. And I pass that down to all of my staff. One other word of wisdom, I guess, is also you don't have to have all the answers. I know when I was in a senior HR role in a corporate office, I felt that in that position, being paid the amount of money I was paid, I had to know everything. And I had an advisor tell me once that you don't. That's why you have a team around you. That's why you collaborate and work with other people, is because sometimes their answers and their ways of doing things, their suggestions, actually are probably better than your own. So how to harness that and move forward. So as I said, you don't need to have all the answers all the time, but you do need to know how to get the best out of the people who work with you.